We are going to look now at the LFO followed by the filters. LFO stands for low frequency oscillator. What it does is that it makes things change in a repetitive form. Let's take the whole note sequence. So that's a sustained note. What I can do is I can actually add something that changes over time. I can make the volume change. So here in the LFO, which is the center part, the LFO is on, but it's not changing anything yet. Let me make the volume change. So I'm going to make, I'll say maybe about 80% of the volume change. And it's going to change once every second because 1 hertz is every second. So it's going to sound like this. And it's changing in this shape. It's going up and down and up and down in a sine wave. If I had a beat going, then now I can actually listen, and it goes. Now there's something wrong because it's going by the seconds. How can I make it sync to the beat? Instead of clicking on the hertz, I click on this music note here. Now it's going to change every 16th note. If I want to make it change slower, instead of 16 notes, I can make it 8 notes. So this is a shape if I'm using sine waves, but I can actually choose different shapes. If I choose a square wave, then it will be, instead of a smooth up and down, it will be a suddenly up, suddenly down, suddenly up, suddenly down. It sounds like this. You can see a bit of difference because of this attack, right? The attack is slow. Let me make the attack back to straight on so you can hear it. If I make I can actually change this timing from 1/8 to 1/6. 1/6 is a number which does not divide into 4s. So it will start playing triplets. Well, what does this sound like? I can also change, instead of immediately up and down, immediately, okay, I can make a shape like this, which is swoop up and then straight away down. It's a sawtooth, but in the reverse direction. And let me make this slower one, so it goes. So you can see that this can give you that pulsing kind of feel with any piece of music that you have. And if I make it even slower, then you can hear it goes. There's also other shapes like this one, sample and hold, which is quite random. To make it more obvious, I will bring it down back to the 1/8 so you can really hear the difference. Now, when we actually go to hertz, we can actually change the nature of the sound. Because if, let's say we go down to something like this, really fast, right? Here, the higher you go, is actually the fast number of times per second. Then we get a sound which is oscillating at a speed that's faster than we are actually hearing. See, it's got a crackly feel, right? If I put into a sine wave, I'll get this. Slow it down. Okay, so that's my LFO if I'm adjusting volume. Let's bring it back down to 0 so it's not affecting the volume anymore. I'm going to look at one more thing. This is the filter. The filter, which we actually looked at when we were doing audio effects, is the amount of frequencies that's getting through. So I put this here, this spectrum analyzer, so you can actually see the different sounds and what is being let through. So it's here. That's the natural sound. But if I bring down the frequency, I'm going to make it more muffled, and you'll see that the sounds are actually less. I mean, the high frequency sounds are less. Well, let me switch off the beat. I don't need it anymore. If I increase the resonance, it will boost the last frequency just before it cuts off. And if I turn down the frequency lower, it will be muffled, but that last frequency will still get boosted. This actually sounds nice when you play the shorter sequence of short notes. I'm going to transpose this. So you see this transpose, I'm going to bring it down an octave and see if I can get a bassy sound. So I'm going to make it even more, cut off more of the high frequencies. I hear only the bassy sounds, and I'm going to boost this. I can actually now put the LFO and make the LFO change the filter. So let me turn it up, and I'll switch it now to change every 8th note, and then we set it to hear how it sounds. If I want to make it random, I'll choose a random waveform instead. So I can, by playing around with the frequency and resonance and the LFO, I can get some very interesting effects. And for longer sounds, even more interesting. For the whole sustained sound, what would it sound like? Those are the things that you can do. Now, what I have this filter is a low pass filter. You see the shape of it. When I bring down, I'm cutting away the high frequency sounds. There's actually a reverse, a high pass filter. So it cuts off all the low frequency sounds, all the bassy parts. What does that sound like? So it's got no bassy sounds at all. And you hear it on the let me give a little bit more bass so you can hear. You hear it on the shorter sound. I also other kinds of filters like this one, band pass, which only the center frequency comes out. So you lose the top, you lose the bottom, but you get the middle. You are going to see that all of these are also available in other instruments. Operator is a more complex instrument. You can see it's actually got 4 oscillators which actually interact with each other using frequency modulation. Those who want to find out the more advanced stuff can go into the advanced breakout room and ask this question. But this also has filters. You look at it, you say, hey, look, there's an LFO and there's a filter. So same principle. Let's change to a filter that looks like this. And let's see what kind of sound I got. I also have a LFO. That's I'm going to use SNH. That's the sample and hold, which is that random one. And I'm going to turn up my LFO. And let's hear what we get. And if I choose a low pass, I lose the bass. So the LFO is affecting the pitch as well as the filter. So you can see that all of these same principles that you learn can be applied to other synths as well. And that's a good cue for you to go and try on your own.